2006 was an absolutely stacked year for gaming. Along with the PlayStation 3 and Wii, tons of games that would be remembered for years to come would be released. Twilight Princess, Oblivion, Bully, Okami, Gears of War, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, in Japan but still, and so many more. The greatest, though, has to be Flatout 2. Developed by Bugbear Entertainment, published by Empire Interactive, and released on PC, Xbox, PS2, and PSP, this adrenaline-inducing racing game is the most annoying yet addictive one I've ever played. It features a single-player campaign and online multiplayer, which still works thanks to OpenSpy. You can also do single races, events, derbies, and even stunts for some reason. I could never quite master these, and the one time it looked like I was going to, my game crashed, so that mode adds nothing for me. The main gameplay is, as you would probably guess, racing. But it's also so much more than that. With most racing games, the general goal is to win and not destroy yourself, others, and everything else around you. In Flatout 2, that's the only way to secure a win. Destroying objects around you, hitting other cars, jumping, and doing other generally risky things adds to your nitro. And if you hit hard enough, you can get cash. In the campaign for this game, cars are super expensive, are realistic, and the only way to make money is to win events and, like I said, bash some cars. This campaign has 3 parts: Derby, Race, and Street. But since the campaigns are so long, I've only played the Derby one. Now, onto the actual racing itself. The feel, the bulk of the game. It's amazing. I don't even know how to say this. The physics, the sliding, the crashing, oh my god, the crashing. This game has amazing deformations and break-off parts when it comes to crashing. Granted, it's nowhere near BeamNG's or something on that level, but still, look at this. The hood pops up when you go fast enough after being damaged, the crumples on the edges, you can lose a wheel. Name another driving game where you can lose a wheel. I'm going to ignore this. Also, whenever you crash into something that doesn't move when you're going fast enough, your character gets GTA forward. Well, actually, this game came out before that one, so I guess just launched is a better way to describe it. The crashes are also a lot of fun, I can't lie. Not always, especially when you're trying to win and oh look, a rock. But when it happens to other racers, that's the magic. I think that really can sum up a lot of this game. Drive well and without crashing, it feels amazing. Smash into people launching them 40 feet feels even better. But other racers show up out of nowhere, crashing you before you can even react, not so great. Another thing very closely related to the crashing, obstacles. You hit one that's set in place, but the ones that aren't are so much cooler. Destroying them, or at least moving the ones that don't break, gets you nitro, but this comes with a huge risk. Unlike in many other arcadey racing games, these breakables aren't just for show and adding more moving parts to the screen. If you hit one that's big enough at the right angle, it will mess you up. They can also cause minor amounts of sliding, which don't affect a lot but still add to the feel that you really are in such a chaotic environment. Oh, sorry, that was just the Halo grunt sounding elephant in the room. He wants me to address him. Pay no attention for now, I'll get there. Back to racing though, and I do think another part of this game which is absolutely slept on is the weird balance of forgiveness that it has. For example, if you crash, you can immediately reset. I know that's not any sort of novel idea, but hear me out. It's not as forgiving as, say, Forza Horizon Replay, which I do like, to be quite honest, but it can also be a curse, especially since you respawn in the middle of the track not moving. You are in ghost mode, but only for a few seconds, so you really need to make them count, and if you don't, you just end up getting sidelined all over again. The other racers can also reset, though it takes them a lot longer. There's also this weird car surfing thing which happens every once in a while. I guess since the cars are in the air so much it's bound to happen, but it's just rare enough that I couldn't get a lot of footage for it. I probably should talk about the other modes as well, but since I've covered most of the main gameplay mechanics, there's not a lot to say about them. Special events are literally just races but with special maps, like a figure 8 or... Wait, does that say figure of 8? Why? Why not just figure 8? It's not Flatout of 2 or GTA of 6. What reason is there to say this? Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, there's also a mechanic in this mode where the nitro gauge fills continuously as well as during jumps, hits, and other things. Stunts are, well, guess. And derbies are completely luck-based, chaos-filled free-for-alls with a lot of circling around enemies if you want to survive. In the campaign for this game, there are also drivers who always drive specific cars and are hard-coded with different personalities. First off, Jack Benton, and like the rest of the drivers, could be put into a Fast and Furious movie and no one would bat an eye. He's extremely aggressive and is almost always in the front of the pack, along with the next driver, Sophia Martinez. She drives this little thing in the derby class called the Chili and is usually right up there with Benton, though her car is very easy to knock around. Then there's Sally Taylor, who drives this pickup. and I have nothing to say about her except she sucks. Whenever I see her, it's because I'm doing badly. On to Katie Jackson. And here is a driver who knows how to fail for absolutely no reason in particular. I cannot count the number of times I have seen her be doing so well, and then just a little later completely give it up, usually to get revenge, but then she misses, and, well, this isn't something entirely unique to her. Many other AI will go full blue lock on each other, or me, but still, it happens to her weirdly often. Next up is Jason Walker, who literally has the names of two Fast and Furious actors. Not much to say about him, he's pretty aggressive, but in this game that's like saying a boss fight in Dark Souls is hard. He's usually a top 4 contender, unlike the other guy with a car similar to his, Ray Carter. Usually a bottom of the pack guy, not really reckless or inconsiderate in any way. Speaking of reckless and inconsiderate though, that's what I would call the decision to let Frank Malkov on the track. I have never seen an NPC in a game that will simply blast through everything in its wake without a care in the world until I was introduced to this psychopath. He wouldn't be that crazy if not for the fact that his SUV can hit like a tank and go scarily fast for such a huge vehicle. He's also such a weird competitor because the man cannot drive. Anytime he's ahead and there are no cars to wreck around him, he just crashes immediately. He doesn't even try to win. For all my talk of drivers' personalities and things like that, there's one big thing they all have in common. They're all morons. I'm serious, all of them will wreck themselves in the weirdest and stupidest possible ways, which is yet another thing that makes this game amazing. You're probably not here for the character summaries in a game with no actual story though, so I'll continue to the next point. Since this is a racing game, cars are pretty important, and I don't have anything to say about this topic. I'm one of those people who finds a car they like, sticks with it, maybe upgrades it once or twice, which is something you can do by the way, there's a ton of upgrades, but other than that I really just don't try out everything. This could be because, to be frank, I've played a lot more single races just to mess around, so the few cars I have unlocked or are already unlocked are the ones I use the most. If you care, my favorites are the Sparrowhawk and Street class and the Banger and Derby class. Haven't played much of race class, so jury's still out on that one. One thing I will note though is that the looks of the car don't really matter to me, as before the end of lap 1 my car usually ends up looking like this. There's also maps. Since they're one of my favorite parts of the game, I probably should mention them. All of these maps have that piss filter, some better, some worse, but unless you're playing the desert maps, none are particularly horrendous. I'm heavily partial to these two maps. Notice how I didn't say their names just now. It's because all of them are weirdly generic, like Timberlands 1, Timberlands 2, Timberlands 3, Figure of 8. I'm sorry, I just can't. Why would you name it like this? First off, there's the forest category of maps. Each category has between 3 and 6 maps within it, and the ones that have more are usually split into 2 separate base maps. What's a base map? Basically, instead of making a lot of different maps, each with very separate and distinct designs, they instead opted to make base maps, and then each separate race course is its own cut-off part of it, though they usually all share at least one area. A good example here would be the canal maps, which I adore driving on. You can see here, names on screen, I'm not going to pretend I remember them. In this version on the left, you can go through this parking garage in 2 ways, either up or down, spitting you out into the other side near a warehouse and the canal part of the map. But, on the other map, you're forced to turn into a split section that quickly merges onto a bridge. My favorite version of this map, though, is neither of these. It's the other one, really wish I could remember the names. I don't know why, but the canal start, multiple routes everywhere, and this big jump you can do if you're feeling particularly stupid or silly, because I've played it quite a few times and have not managed to find a single instance where it actually helps, are just such nice map features. It's not an amazing map, as I feel like there's never a point to taking this right path in the canal, as it only seems to put you behind the other racers. Speaking of alternate paths that are straight up terrible, this one on City Central 2 is just straight up longer than the other one. What's the point? You can go both ways no matter how fast you're going. There also aren't really any standout Dust 2, Blood Gulch type maps for me, but at the same time there aren't any wow this map sucks, I hate it so much I'm going to steal someone's footage of throwing a Wii U box out of their house. So that's nice. Anyways, the 6 categories are Forest, Field, Desert, Canal, City, and Race. There's also a small but respectable modding community for this game, quite a lot of skins for the cars, but also some maps. And then there's the Ryan Gosling mods.
If I had a nickel for every
Ryan Gosling mod and Flatout 2.
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Also, he beat me in a race. There we go, that's better. For some reason, the majority of the mods are made by Russians, and I found a lot of Russians talking about this game online. Why is this? I could not tell you. This game just seems to draw in Russians like gacha games draw in people with way too much money. There's also some cooler ones like HD textures, detailed mini-maps, alternate sounds, and adding more music. Speaking of music, this soundtrack is made up of banger after banger, but since they're all heavily copyrighted, I can't play them in the video, so I'll leave a link to them below with a playlist. This is for sure my favorite racing game, but that's not saying too much when the list is Forza Horizon 5, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, Mario Kart 8, Revolt, and the 2 main track Manias. Oh, I probably should mention that elephant now. Flatout Ultimate Carnage was released in 2008 and is basically a remaster of Flatout 2, with a few more cars, drivers, new gameplay modes, and some other things. I haven't played this one, as Flatout 2 was, whenever I bought it, I can't remember, cheaper. About Flatout 1, haven't played, looks fine to me. Flatout 3, no such thing. Flatout 4, I can tell you from the trailer that is not a Flatout game. You know, speaking of newer games, I've heard a lot of good things about this one. Can it really be that good though? Holy shit, how is Wreckfest so good? It's got the physics, the stupid AI, the sliding, even the crashing is just as good. How? Ah, of course. Thanks for getting to the end of the video, I hope you enjoyed. I recently uploaded a lore video here on the left, a more sciencey one on the right, and that's about it.